If you like these videos, please check out my full course at www.lsat.totaltestprep.net with tons of clearly explained actual LSAT questions written by someone who's mastered the test and helped others master it, and an evaluation period where you only pay if you want to continue.
Okay, so we're going to go over the disagreement question in this video. So what is the disagreement question? Okay, so what do these disagreement questions ask for? So in other words, what does it mean to identify a disagreement between two speakers? How do these questions appear in the test? And how do we approach these questions? Okay, so in terms of the basic information, the disagreement questions basically ask you for the choice that the two speakers have opposing views on. So it's important in legal context to be able to identify the point of contention between two perspectives. So that's the legal connection. Now, the questions will deal with two arguments produced by two speakers. And think of the disagreement questions as a combination of the must be true and must be false questions. The correct choice will have to be true for one speaker and false for the other. The other choices may be true or false. All right, so in terms of the basic approach, you need to be clear on the information presented, but most of the work will be done in the choices where you're looking for the one that has to be both true and false. So true for one person, false for the other. So identify the premises and conclusion in the two arguments presented. Don't spend too much time trying to figure out what they're arguing over. So that's something that a lot of students will instinctively look for. Okay, what is it that they're arguing over? But that's a little ambiguous. Now, the other thing is that the point of disagreement will generally not be each author's main point. It might, but it won't necessarily be the author's main point. So author A says one thing and then author B says, well, I disagree for these reasons. It could be a premise that's involved, it could be an assumption, etc. So you don't want to spend too much time trying to figure out what they're arguing over. Instead, go through the choices and look for the one that has to be true for one speaker and false for the other speaker. The correct choice will be a consequence of one speaker's argument, and it'll contradict the other speaker's argument. So once again, don't focus on the conclusions. Simply look, does the choice follow from one, and does it contradict the other? Approach the choices how you would the must be true and the must be false questions. So you're looking for one. The correct choice is going to have to be true for one speaker and have to be false for the other. Now, in terms of the incorrect choices won't be true for one and false for the other. So it may be true or false for both of them, or it may be irrelevant for one of them or for the other or for both. So you want to be on the lookout for choices where it may seem like the choice is likely to follow or contradict, but in fact we don't know. It'll be irrelevant. There'll be some sort of subtle difference from what they're saying up in the arguments. And then you're going to, once again, you want to evaluate the choice the same way as in the must be true and must be false questions. Now, in terms of the basic variations, these questions will use all of the elements that are found in the other consequence question types. So you want to, and there's actually going to be rare instances of agreement questions, but it's going to be where they'll both have to be true. So you're looking for an answer choice that both speakers agree with, and the choice has to be true for both of them. But for the most part, you're essentially you're combining your must be true, your necessary assumption, and your must be false questions, because for one of the speakers, choice will have to be true, and for the other, it'll have to be false. All right. So in terms of a quick summary, disagreement questions basically ask you for the choice that the two speakers have opposing views on. You need to be clear on the information presented, but most of the work will be done in the choices where you're looking for the one that has to be both true and false. And these questions will use all of the elements that are found in the other consequence question types.